Hello everyone out there in Ruby Lane. I am here with Rebekah Kaufman and it is World Doll Day, but we're not just talking about dolls today. We are talking about bears because bears and dolls go hand in hand, don't they?
And they're also best friends.
And they're also best
they always
friends.
have been.
And that's the spirit of World Doll Day, is giving, sharing, friendship. So we're going to talk to Rebekah about some extraordinary bears. Some I guarantee you've probably never seen that we're going to learn all about. So Rebekah, thank you again for being here with us. We just learned so much about the Steiff dolls, but of course we have to see some bears.
Well, absolutely. And when I knew that we were going to make this tape, I couldn't imagine anything more fun than to talk about bears. So I went through my collection and thought, what could be some really rare bears? Because there's nothing more exciting than seeing something you've never seen before, or perhaps something in wonderful condition, or hearing the story behind something that's a great find. Because as collectors up here on Ruby Lane, we all love that great score.
We do.
And all of these came with great scores. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the bears, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the great scores.
Love a great score.
All
We're
right.
here in Teddy Bear Central.
Booyah.
Yes.
All right. So let me first tell you about this little guy. Now, this little guy is wonderful for like a billion reasons, and I don't even need to tell the teddy bear lovers why this is so great. He's a tiny, white, fully jointed bear with a blank button and a fully legible white ear tag.
The white ear tag we learned from your identification video. It's one of the rarest next to the red tag, if I'm not mistaken.
The white tag is the earliest. The earliest tag, and the fact that it's fully legible, and it basically says that the bear is mohair, fully jointed, and the measurement, and this bear is about 20 centimeters. This bear, I couldn't believe, I bought this bear at auction, and I was the only bidder. So you guys know that feeling? You're like, well, why isn't the world staring at this? The size is extraordinary. The fact that it's white, it's got the brown nose, fully ID. It's got, you know, I do not believe this is original, but it's still,
period,
at least a period. It's 100 years old. There's wonderful condition on the felt pads. He's got his traditional Steiff proportions, the big back. I don't know, when this arrived, you guys know the feeling when a box arrives from an auction house or from Ruby Lane, you've bought something and something is like a million times better than you thought.
Oh, love that feeling.
That's the feeling. Hello, my little friend here. So this is the first bear. This little guy is from about 1904, 1905 with all of his details.
Gosh, he's just phenomenal.
He's wonderful.
Wonderful.
And I just love him.
When you look at him, he just looks like a bear. That's what you think of when you think of a Steiff bear.
Well, he is,
look.
and he's a wonderful size. Imagine a child holding this. Now, thank goodness a child didn't, because that means we can enjoy him in such beautiful shape today.
Right.
But he's just a wonderful size, wonderful condition, and the ID just is extraordinary. It just really doesn't get better than that.
No, it's so great to see it in real life.
But it ties with the next one I'm going to share with you. So the next bear I'm going to share with you looks like a bear. But this bear is extraordinary because he's what they call a tumbler. Now, one of the ways to notice a tumbler, and by a tumbler I mean he literally somersaults when you wind him up. And I'm not going to do that for you today because his mechanism is a little tired and a little noisy. But take my word for it, you wind him backward, you can hear the clicking, and he does. And he will flip both somersaults, and he flips on a wire as well.
I want one.
Okay, you do. But start saving your pennies. This is really exciting. So I bought this bear on Craigslist many years ago.
Oh my gosh.
But I didn't know what I was buying. We live in New England, and this bear was listed in New England. So we drove to the house, and it was not just this bear, but there was another bear of equal quality that they wanted pennies for. They wanted to keep the bears together, and they wanted it to go to a good house. They didn't even realize it was a tumbler.
Well, and at the time you didn't either.
Well, I didn't either. I drove to Connecticut to pick this up. I actually, I was not breathing. Like, please tell me this is not a dream, or you're going to wake me up, or you're going to, lie and tell me you want $2 million. None of that came true. They wanted us to go to Steiff Living House. So what I want to show the people watching the show is that, say you're looking at an auction, or say you're looking at stuff online, and you see a bear. How do you know it's a tumbler? Okay, this is a little bit different, but do you notice that the arms are a little bit longer? The arms on a typical bear go to about the knees. This really goes to the ankles, and the arms are placed low on the shoulders.
Such a great tip, everybody.
Okay? All right, and it's also heavy. Rachel, I want you to feel this.
He is.
Do you feel him?
Oh my gosh, he is very heavy.
Very heavy, and he's hard.
Yes.
Okay, So this is a tumbler from about 1909.
Amazing.
Okay, so if you see something, these came as Eskimo dolls and also monkeys and bears and I believe an elephant. If you see something and you're like, well, the arms aren't right, well, maybe they are incredibly right because it's a tumbler. That's amazing. And a tumbler could sell for 2, 3, or 4 times the price of a regular item, especially if it's working. So you see it's a regular Steiff bear, but it's a tumbler. Heavy weights, funny arms, and
what a
very
treat to
proportioned.
see.
Okay, isn't he beautiful?
Beautiful.
He also has his tag and button.
Just wonderful.
He's wonderful. Okay. So that was my find on Craigslist.
Will he be listed in your Ruby Lane shop?
Oh gosh, no. No, but he does guest appearances. He's glad.
Well, we're so glad that he came to visit on World Doll Day.
He came to visit on World Doll Day, and if you need me to come and give a talk to your doll club or program about interesting dolls, I'm happy to bring him along.
He loves to travel.
He's hard to get through security for obvious reasons. Anyway, so the next bear I would like to talk to you about is a bear that was found in a storage unit. I know,
It's like
the people, we want to find stuff in a storage unit, we don't, and people who don't want to find bears in a storage unit too. So he was found in a storage unit, and the owners contacted me, said, what do you do? What should I do with him? I said, it's very simple. You put him in a box and you send him to me. This is called a teddy clown. Now, a teddy clown is a wonderful bear, and the most typical teddy clowns have tipping. Now, it's okay, we're all professionals, but if you don't know the real color of an item, look in places where the sun don't shine.
Right.
Armpits, crotches, behind the neck, and you see this is tipped. Very typical. These teddy babies, these teddy clowns also came in a couple of other colors, including some pastel colors, but the tipping is the most common.
Wonderful.
And it's basically a regular Steiff bear with the tipping. You're going to see this collar, and you're also going to see a hat with silken pom-poms. One of the ways you can tell that this is original is it's stuffed with Excelsior.
Oh, how interesting.
Okay, so it's not part of the head.
You can kind of hear it as she squishes
correct.
around
So
everybody.
the head is like complete. It's not. It's not. It's like it's a bare head, and then they stuff this with Excelsior. You can feel a little cardboard disc here. This is stuffed with Excelsior with a cardboard disc to keep it in, and then stitched on. That means it's original. Oftentimes you'll see teddy bears that have ruffles and hats, and they're claimed to be teddy clowns, and maybe they are like aftermarket teddy clowns, but a real teddy clown will have that construction, and that's really important in terms of sales and cost and auction and estimates and such. But this is a wonderful teddy clown, and these were produced in the mid 1920s through very early 1930s.
Fantastic.
And he's delightful, and people just
He has so
love
much personality.
Teddy clowns, happy clown. Okay. Another great find, which came to me through someone selling an estate, is this little bear. Now, he's adorable in his own way. You see how beautiful he is? And he has typical early Steiff proportions. He was white because of his brown nose, early black eyes. He has a secret.
He's a rattle.
He's a rattle. And what's so phenomenal about this, imagine 100 plus years ago,
Right.
a small child holding this and
just
loving
rattling
it
all the
and
time,
loving
yes.
it. I've only actually seen rattle bears in white, although I know they probably came in other colors. And what's so much fun is that oftentimes when I see a bear of this size that's white from this era, and this particular bear with his button is from the late teens, early 20s, I always ask someone, shake your bear. And more often than not, it will rattle. And someone will say, it never dawned on me.
Never thought to
It
shake
never
the bear.
dawned on me. Steiff often made the smallest or almost smallest size of bears, dogs, cats. I have a little squirrel that rattles as rattles because they're wonderful toys. And Steiff was terrific at repurposing basic line items for additional product line items.
How cool is
And
that?
what he has in his belly is basically a glass tube filled with little beads, which is stuck in there as part of his stuffing.
I can't wait to go home and shake all of our little bears that are that size.
Yes, well, exactly. And please let me know if you find something. And it's just so delightful when you tell someone to try that and it actually works, and they're like, I had no idea. Okay, so that's a wonderful bear. And that's another fun bear. Also for World Doll / Bear Day, if I say so myself, is a wonderful version of Petsy. Now, Petsy is a great bear, and Petsy was supposed to be designed as a very youthful bear. Now, the thing about Petsy is that they're so rare and they're so expensive that if you have one, hold it and love it, because they're so hard to find and they're so expensive and they're so rare. They were only made for a handful of years in the very late 1920s. Petsy was made either in this wonderful tipped color, and again, you can see the tipping in places that with less wear. It was also made in a brass color. But Petsy was specifically designed to be extraordinarily youthful. And the very subtle ways that Steiff did this is they produced a center seam and a very parallel face. And in scientific evidence has shown that when things are very parallel and placed low on the face, they have a distinctly youthful appearance. So think about, for instance, my pugs. Adorable, and even though they're ancient, they look like babies because they're parallel and their eyes are placed low on the face, okay? Center seam, the ears also placed low, and they're lined in wires and are posable. This is the Petsy, the baby bear. This bear was originally called Bushy, but this name was not successful, so they changed it to Petsy. And Petsy is a German word that's kind of endearing and implies like a small, sweet, precious thing. So this is Petsy.
Just so
beautiful
sweet.
Blue eyes. And she would have had, and she has a little time to her because she also was found in a storage unit. She would have had pinkish red embroidery on her face, and also you can see that on her claws. They faded a bit.
Oh, yeah.
They were
you
like
can see
salmon
it.
color, but they are now a little bit
So
thick.
sweet.
So she's wonderful, and despite her age and condition, I don't think the stars are aligned for me to get another Petsy, so I treat her with great respect and great love.
Absolutely.
That's Petsy. Okay?
She's wonderful.
Okay. Now, I've saved either the best or the worst for last, and it's up to you to decide. But what I've saved for the last, I think, is the absolute rarest bear that I have ever seen or handled. And I actually only know of one other, and it was sold at a Christie's auction in 2010 for several thousands of pounds. And I didn't even think it was Steiff at the time, but clearly it was, because it was sold at a Steiff auction and it was cataloged and had its button. So I saw this item. Now, don't roll your eyes.
Oh, no, he is so cool.
Okay. So what we have here,
Look at that.
okay, this is a fully jointed Steiff bear made as a woolen miniature. And many of your readers and listeners may know Steiff's woolen miniatures more for these tiny birds or rabbits or very endearing little items.
Bugs, even.
Bugs, exactly. Ladybugs, a cockroach, all of those little tiny items which are made basically out of pom-poms, okay? And Steiff started creating these items in the 1930s for two reasons. The first is they were looking for a lower cost item to produce, to get people interested in the brand, and they were less expensive, obviously, than a fully jointed mohair Excelsior stuffed item, because they're made out of woolen pom-poms. The other reason that they produced these is that they were interested in producing a lower cost item. When these started to be produced in the 1930s, times both politically and socially were not great at Steiff, so they produced both high-end, really high-end, and really low-end items, and these were considered the lower-end items. One of the things that people do not know a lot about, because this is so rare, is that Steiff produced for just a handful of years in the mid to late 1930s a teddy bear made out of what's called numata wool, which is these pom-pom, which are basically pom-poms. The item itself would have been, you see it's got jointing.
Look at that.
It's jointed out of, it's got a string jointing, and you can feel in the torso, it's got a metal wire,
Oh
so
my
it's
gosh,
slightly
how
posable,
amazing.
okay? The arms, again, are string jointed with a metal jointed here for flexibility. The head is jointed, and although the item itself is made out of pom-poms, the ears are made out of mohair, and you might want to zoom in on this.
Yeah, look at that.
As you can see, he's got a button in his mohair ear. Times were really, really bad when these were being produced. So what they had were simply a pair of eyes, and there was airbrushed nose and mouth. That's it.
Oh, wow.
And this was actually beautiful and adorable when it was new. Please understand this was made in a terrible time. This probably got a lot of love, which I'm very appreciative to. I keep this as an example of an extraordinary rarity produced at an extraordinary time at Steiff. I put the collar on, which is not original to him, but original to Steiff, just to show.
It gives him a neck.
Give him a neck and a little touch of class.
Yeah.
But indeed, this was a white Steiff bear made out of woolen pom-poms in the late
remarkable.
1930s. If you ever see another something like this, buy it immediately, because this is the second one I've seen. I'm delighted to share these items with you. Some are more rare than others, but they all share that wonderful commonality of things I've loved my whole life that I found and I scored and I owned. And I hope everyone who's watching this can empathize with those feelings and have some luck like that on their own.
Thank you so much, and we have learned so much from you in our past videos, and of course today on World Doll Day and World Bear Day. Rebekah Kaufman, thank you so much. And can you give us the name of your shop, and if somebody wants to get in contact with you if they have one of those fuzzy little fellas?
Absolutely. I am a designated Ruby Lane seller. I've been on Ruby Lane for many years. I love working on the platform. It's a great platform, easy to use for both me to provide you with wonderful products and for you to purchase them. My store is called Steiff Guys. Well, that's my husband. Steiff Gals Vintage Museum Marketplace, because my goal is to provide both beautiful things to buy but also beautiful things to look at, and window shopping is fully welcome.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And happy World Doll and Bear Day to you.
Absolutely. And Teddy hugs to all.
Teddy hugs to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.